Hello and welcome to part 7 of my PushButton tutorial. In this video we're going to take a look at how we can use IKinema to make sure that our character reaches the button. And the techniques I'm going to be showing has already been covered in previous videos, but I'm going to do it anyway in this context here. So I just also realized that you can't really hear the sound, so here it is with hopefully a little bit more pronounced click sound. Okay, so we want him to not just put his hand into the wall, but actually reach out for the button here. Okay, and to begin with, we want to create a control rig or IKinema rig. If you have the IKinema rig, have a license for that, you can find it under animation here, IKinema rig. Pick your skeleton. It's going to say something about it seems to be too many bones. Just hit OK to that and click OK. So inside here we're going to set up a few tasks, and if you're new to this you can more or less just translate tasks to an effector in motion builder or animation terms. It's pretty much the same as far as I can see, but IKinema calls them tasks. I want to keep the index finger here because that's the one I'm clicking with. Actually this is for the left hand, but I'm going to keep it anyway because I haven't found a way to get rid of or reintroduce once I deleted a bone here. I can't seem to find an option to add a bone here, so that would be very convenient if that was introduced at some point. Anyway, I'm going to delete all the twist joints, as you can see here, and also down here, and also the IK joints here. There we go. So we have a pretty basic setup now. And then we want to add an effector for the hip, and one for the spine, as the chest, and also one for the hand, and for the other hand, and also for the head. Was that a head task? No, that was not a head task. A head task. There we go. And one for each of the two for each of the feet. So it's going to be a foot task for the foot and one for the ball as well. And one here. Foot and foot. And also, in order to eliminate knees bending backwards, we're going to add a knee task for the calf. So a knee task here and a knee task here, like that. So we're just going to leave everything default as it is for now and just hit save. So in order to set this up, we come into the animation blueprint, and let's see, well, actually the stuff coming from the default state machine should be okay, but since we're going to be using this also when we press the button, we're going to put it afterwards here. So right click and type foot, and that's going to bring up this IKinema foot placement behavior node here. So it's a fairly complicated node, I would say. So you want to drag this one down to the bottom here and connect this one up here. Alright, and in order to, we're going to set up the foot placement as well in this video, so I'm just going to do that real quick. In order to do that, we come into the end effector. Here you can see they also call it effectors. Add 4, one for each of the bone joints, so the foot and the ball. And since Unreal Engine 4.12, they updated the plugin to also support a shape, a different custom shape for the traces. So per default it's going to be a line, and previous versions only work with lines. So now you can also select a box or sphere or capsule as a trace object. But for now I'm just going to keep this as a line. You can also, if you use some of the other ones, like a sphere or capsule or box, then you can work with the extents to say how big the trace object is going to be, and you can also offset it. So for example, if I pick my left foot, which is this one, then I could offset the point in space to be out here. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as a line and 0 and not worry about this. Just wanted to mention it. So let's go ahead and add the other ones. So put then one for the ball, one for the foot, and one for the ball, and also do it for the right foot, and right ball. Just gonna minimize them. And also, in order to get this to work, we need to set the hip transform to be the point of the pelvis. So with that setup, we can right click up here and refresh, which is going to add both the alphas and the mesh offset for the feet. Since I'm not going to be changing this and it's going to be constantly on, I'm just going to simplify this by unchecking these two. So they're going to disappear from up here. And just going to set the offset, well, the offset is going to be 0 for now, but the alphas is just going to be 1 all the time. But basically what you can do here is to turn this functionality on and off by changing the pin connections up here. And then you want to set the reverse setup, foot setup, and set this to a 1. Reverse foot vector, and that's actually all you need to do to get this foot placement to work at a fairly basic setup. You want to tweak a little bit so the feet doesn't go into the ground a little bit. I haven't played too much around with this, but I'm pretty sure you can tweak this to look somewhat better. But in order to get the hand to reach that correct button, we want to expose a hand task. So you can also search for expose and check this one. And right click and refresh. That's gonna expose these tasks here. So let's take the right hand task and drag this one out. You have two options here. You can take this one, which is the node that is automatically generated by Unreal Engine. And with this one, you can expand this one and collapse it, which is pretty neat. But IKinema also supplies one up here, setup task, which has an identical number of pin connections, but it also has default settings for these two, and also for that is set to blend to target. So that's a little different. But since this one can't be collapsed, I actually prefer to use this one. But they're basically the same. Okay, so the target is going to be the button. So we need to feed that in during our animation, and also the alpha is going to be driven by a curve value. So we should go ahead and do that. Actually, I think I did this off video, but I'm going to just redo it anyway. So let's get rid of this one I just created before. So what you want to do here is go down here and click add a variable curve and create curve. Since I already did create one, I already have it in here. And if you want to get rid of one you already have, you can go to the assets up here and was it assets, I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere up here. Anim slot, skeleton curves. There we go. And then here you can right click and delete this one. So in case you want, we're going to do this all the way from the beginning. Add here, create a new, and call this hand target, whatever. Okay. So let's take a look at the animation. And let's save this. So the point in the animation where the hand should be exact at the point of the button. It should be here. So add a key, set the value to 1. And we want to keep the hand a little bit longer, so maybe somewhere around here. Add another 1 key. And at the beginning, let's add a 0 key. And change this to auto, so it makes this nice little bend here. And then we are okay to leave the curve here, so let's drag it out here and let's just set it to 0 here. And set this to auto. So you can always tweak around with this a little bit. I think actually this one should be a little bit further over here, judging from the button press event here. So here. And maybe drag this one a little bit back, like that. Okay, that's going to control the alpha of the when to reach the target here. All right, so let's switch back to the graph, and we can drag this one out here from alpha and say get curve value. And remember, we call it hand target. You don't need to enter this exactly this way. And the target is going to be something we'll insert into from the animation or the event graph here. So I'm going to do that from the update animation tick here. So press S and click to add a sequence here. And we have the button on our character, so I'm going to get a reference to the button from the character. Get highlighted, interactable, and get world location. We can choose between billboard or collision sphere. I'm going to choose the billboard for now, but since this is actually the button itself we're interested in, we might have to revise this in a moment. So this is going to give us a world location, but the IKinema node target here is going to expect component space location. So in order to convert this, we can get this location by getting the mesh. This, and the mesh is obviously the character, this guy here, this jittery guy. And from here on, we get the world transform, and we can do an inverse transform location, which will convert this world transform into the component space relative to our mesh. So we need to promote this to a variable, which we set. Connect that up. And call this button target something. Right. So back into the event graph here, we can drag this up here now and connect that up here. It's gonna automatically create a conversion node here, and if you don't want to use that, you can also split this open and then connect it into the target location. It's basically the same. I like to have it because it's just going to expand this one and create too much clutter in here, so I'm just going to use this automatic one. And I think that's it for this setup here. Let's test it out real quick. Actually, one thing I missed. You can see he's now reaching for the button, but we have a few problems. I don't know how well you can see this, but it's actually the hand, and the hand is going through the button. So it's kind of bending to the side right now, so it's not exactly what I wanted to do, him to do. And we have all these errors in the log here. The thing is, we call this on every animation tick. So to begin with, we don't have a highlighted interactable, so obviously we can't really get anything from that. So what we want to do is convert this to a validated get, and only do this in case this is valid. So connect that up here, and might want to clean this up a little bit. Okay. And the other issue is that we're actually not interested in pushing the button with the hand, because the hand is actually the wrist itself. So the point that we want to push is actually the finger. So let's change that as the next thing. So inside the animation, the IKinema rig, we want to add a task for the finger, the index finger itself. So add a hand task here. So now we have that exposed. So now we can change also, instead of the hand, we can see if this works now. Nope. So all you want to do in this case is to scroll all the way down, or maybe search for rig. You can just clear this one and select it again, and then refresh. And that's gonna make this index show up. So reroute it to this one and check this one. So now it's going to be the finger that's going to try and reach the target. Actually, I connected that up to the wrong one. That was funny. I was actually in the left one. So let's delete that one. The index left. Delete this one. And set it on the right index finger, like that. And let's clear this one, set it again, and refresh. So now we have the right index finger here. It's already connected up. So now we can see he's reaching. It's a bit hard to see because the camera is kind of in the way, but you can see he's pushing through the button itself, and that's because the center of the actor is actually inside that little box. So we want to change that behavior, and in order to do that, we want to change the target, and right now it's the billboard, which is the center of the button itself. But since this is highlighted interactable, we don't really know what that point is going to be. And since this is going to be an interactable, something you can interact with, several objects might have some different interactable locations where you can interact with it, where you can pick it up or you can push it or whatever. What I'm going to do here is go into my IInteractable and create an interactable point or get interaction location. So I'm going to add a new function here, get action point or target maybe, and it's going to output a vector which is going to give us a point. Let's just call it target, and let's save that and compile and save. And that now means that we can call this one and say get interaction point. And that's going to give us an interaction point, and that interaction point is going to be returned by the object that we have here. So in this case, we have the button that inherits from the interactable, and in here we can just decide to put whatever we want because this is a specialized class. So in this case, I'm gonna create something like let's see, what can we use? Maybe well, just anything really. Well, a billboard, yes. Let's call this interaction point, something like that. And then I'm just going to drag this point out to match up with the button itself. I'm just gonna make this invisible. You're still gonna be able to see the gizmo, the transform gizmo. And for now, I'm gonna turn off the grid. Can't remember which one is this one. So just gonna put it around here. So compile that and save. So once we get asked about the interaction point, so we want to create a get interaction point. Get interaction point. Oh, we know what call it. We want to create interaction point. Is it over here? I wonder why it doesn't show up. You'll have to excuse me, I'm a little bit confused here. Okay, oh, it's under functions. Okay, get interaction point. Yeah, and that's because it's returning something which was declared in a parent with a different signature. Okay, so that probably means I need to compile this one, save, and once I try and compile, maybe I need to delete this one and then overwrite it again. There we go. Right. So it's gonna say get the interaction point from the parent, and in this case we do not want to get it from that point. We want to get it from the interaction point here. So disconnect that and say get world location. That's the location we want to return. So there we go. And that means that now instead of using this billboard location here, we can actually just get it from this one and then connect that one up again. That's going to simplify things, hopefully, a little bit. So let's play that again. It's a bit hard to see, and he's still kind of reaching for the wrong location, it seems. Let's see, get interact. Okay, so a few things we can try out. This index constraint, or this effector here, has a position weight. We can set this, try and set this to 200, so real high, so it's going to give more weight in the IK solving. It's making it a bit jittery now, so maybe I overdid that a little bit. Oops. Just turn down the volume. Okay. And let's see, we can try and lower it a little bit, just say 100. Okay, and the camera is getting me on my nerves, so I'm gonna make a little tweak. Okay, it's all the way down there. I wonder why. I'm gonna take the camera boom and adjust the socket offset just a little bit up, I think, and maybe a little bit to the side. See if that makes it a little bit easier. Okay, so it's still looking a little bit funny sometimes. Actually, his finger seems to be a little bit crooked now. But well, we're getting there. In the next video, we're gonna see how we can animate the button to get pushed in and get that looking a little bit better, and maybe also take a look at how we can refine this setup with the IKinema rig. Okay, I think that's it for this video. Thank you for watching, and be seeing you in the next. Bye bye.